Yes, sir. Can I interest you in that model? You like that? That's the new Fireblade, the 2000 model. Beautiful machine. Yes, yeah. You would like one, right? Well, the price, it's actually not far away from £9,000. You haven't got £9,000, right? So, I mean, what would you like to pay? How much have you actually got to spend, and how are you going to pay? You've got credit cards, right? That's not a problem, but you've got a credit limit. It's £4,500. You can't have one of them for £4,500, I'm afraid. Not quite like that, but you're very lucky because I've just taken in a beautiful bike and I can do you a fantastic deal for £4,500. Ah, sir, you've already beat me to it. You're outside. Right, let me show you the very machine that I've got in mind for you. This bike has got your name written all over it. It was built just for you. It's a beautiful 1996, 2 owners from new and very, very standard Honda Fireblade. So a second-hand Fireblade, priced at £4,500, about half the price of the brand new Fireblade. So are you only getting half the machine? Well, no, absolutely not, far from it. You're still getting a fantastic performance machine. And for me, one of the best looking Fireblades that there's been. It's been around since '92 now, and you might recall the very early ones had twin headlamps. 2 separate lamps on the front. By this model, this is the 96 CBR 900 RRT version, we were up to this fox eye headlamp, which for me is one of the best looking front ends that they ever did. The engine, of course, has changed over the years. This one, this 96, round about 120 brake horsepower. The new one, it's fuel injected, of course, is claiming close to 150 brake horsepower. But can you honestly say that you can tell the difference riding on a normal road? I very much doubt it. Because really, when you talk about sports bikes, when you think about modern sports bikes, you obviously think of the R1, the ZX9, the ZX6s, the R6s, and even the Hayabusas and the Blackbirds. And you read all the spec on the paper, and they're much, much faster than this. They perform much better, and everybody says they handle better. I have to say that unless your name's Carl Fogarty or Mick Doohan, I honestly don't think you'd notice. I can't believe that you would notice riding on normal roads. And really, for £4,500, sports bikes, this really is all you'll ever need. This, of course, is a second-hand bike, and if you're buying second-hand, there are certain things that you need to be aware of. Most of it's common sense. It involves using your eyes and basically asking the right questions. But this bike has had 2 owners from new. It's only done 10,000 miles, so it's not really been thrashed very much. It shouldn't have been, doesn't look like it has been, and it's probably not been crashed. And when I say using your eyes and asking the right questions, look at the obvious things. Look at this for a start. A standard exhaust can. Beautifully standard there, big black can. Now that would suggest that the previous owner of this probably wasn't a boy racer. Perhaps he didn't like making a lot of noise. He, I say, could have been a she, of course. On the other hand, he could have had a race can on it and put this one back on it, the standard can, before he traded it in with the dealer. We will never know. But there are other clues underneath here, underneath the foot pegs. If this bike had spent a lot of time on a racetrack, that would be all shiny and ground down, pointed, could even be missing completely, but that to me looks like original metal. So I don't think it spent a great deal of time on a racetrack. If it has, hasn't been ridden properly. Bar end weights, they're not scuffed or scratched. I don't think it's been on its side, this bike. The levers, nice and clean, no kinks, no nasty bends that shouldn't be there. All the graphics are all original. There are no big stickers that perhaps you wouldn't expect to see that could be covering up nasty holes, bumps and scratches in the fairing. Also, the mechanical things worth having a quick check over. The chain, check that it's not at the end of its adjustment, so it's like stretched beyond beyond its reasonable life. The sprocket, the rear sprocket, you don't want to buy one that's got hooked teeth on it, because a new chain and sprocket set, a proper one, will cost you something close to £130. The tyres, you don't want to have to be forking out for new tyres, because a pair of tyres for a machine like this will cost you about £200. This has got Avon Azzaros which have been fitted to it. Not done a great deal of mileage, still plenty of life left in them. If you're buying a second-hand machine, it's been owned by somebody else, so they will have individualised it. They will have added extras to it. Might not always be to your taste. And there's one of them flashing away, an alarm system, data tool alarm, £300 worth, thereabouts. That's already on it. Costs you nothing, it's yours for free with the bike. Might even save you a few bob on the insurance. The only other extra that this has got, the only other add-on bit, should I say, is a different colour screen. It's got this red screen, which is no problem. The rest of it is beautifully standard. And it's always better, I think, buying a bike that is standard, which is sometimes, if you've got a bike loaded with extras and add-on bits, it's harder to sell because it's only to your taste. But if you buy one like this, beautifully as it was made in its original form, it gives you loads and loads of scope to add on your own bits and put it to your taste. And all that money that you've saved on not buying a new one, you can spend on extras.